This game and this series, my goodness, the Hawks look to be done and dusted. But here they are, still alive. This series is going at least 6, and it will go back to the ATL on Thursday. And for more on this first-round Eastern Conference series, we bring in CBS Sports NBA insider Bill Reiter. Bill, I'm almost speechless from what I just saw, but what did Trae Young and the Hawks, what did they just do to the Celtics?
Yeah, they just reminded us there are no sure things in the postseason. We knew the Western Conference was upside down with Giannis' injury and the way the Heat have played. That series has gone in a direction we didn't anticipate, but we all thought, Russ, the Celtics are a lock. They're going to advance in this game. It felt that way to the end. And then Trae Young took over and went supernova, went absolutely to a level that I'm not sure a lot of folks realized he had or doubted he could get to. Me among them. What a one-handed victory from Trae Young at the end of that game to carry his team a little further in this series.
Look, no DeJounte Murray. He was suspended, and he was the guy really playing the best basketball of all the Hawks before this game. What does this do for Trae Young's reputation going forward?
Yeah, it's a great question because there's no doubt, and having talked to sources, I can tell you, he is not the most popular guy in that locker room. And it is not a certainty that Quinn Snyder, who's now the head coach, as we know, Russ, and who has really the majority of the power in that new structure since they've made changes in the front office as well over the last few months. There's no lock that Quinn Snyder was going to be committed to Trae Young in the long term. But if you're Trae Young and you want to stick around, and you want to win over teammates, and you want to win over your head coach, and you want to silence the doubters inside and outside that Hawks organization, why not just hit a ridiculous three-point shot after carrying your team to, I think it was 14 consecutive points, and basically single-handedly beating back the Celtics' destination in the second round for at least another game? It's an absolute game changer, potentially, for Trae Young, his relationship with his teammates in that organization. These are the moments to give anybody pause. And I'm telling you, they're in that Atlanta organization when they're thinking about moving on from Trae Young.
On the other side, you got the Boston Celtics, and for all the world, it looked like they were going to move on to play the 76ers in the next round, and this thing was over. They actually started playing like that a little bit towards late in the fourth quarter there, just turning the ball over, seeming a little bit careless. What does this do to the psyche of the C's?
I think it's fine, Russ, if, and it's a big if, they go to Atlanta on Thursday and they win Game 6 and they put an end to this series and they just chalk it up to Trae Young being really special on this night. But it's certainly, what's bizarre about this, Russ, to me is that it's a truism in the NBA. It's hard to close out series. And guys and coaches who have failed and succeeded to do this, we'll talk about when you get to the final 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 minutes of a closeout game in a series, it just feels different. You have to learn how to win those games. But this is a Celtics team that made the NBA Finals last year and that had some tough battles in that NBA Finals, including or on their road there, including getting to a Game 7 and winning a Game 7 in the Eastern Conference Finals. So it's bizarre, Russ. You're right. They gave up on the game. Their effort went away. And then they were certainly shook as the Hawks and really Trae Young stormed forward in that game. I think they're going to be able to shake it off, but I also thought that the Heat were going to go meekly against the Milwaukee Bucks. I thought the Lakers probably weren't going to win that Memphis series. I mean, this has been an upside-down NBA playoffs, and that's certainly continuing in this series.
All right, that is CBS Sports NBA insider Bill Reiter. Game 6 coming your way Thursday from Atlanta. That should be interesting. It's interesting indeed that this series continues at all because the Celtics had the Hawks number. In the last 6 games in Boston, it was all Celtics. But when it came down to it and they had a chance to close out the series against the Atlanta Hawks in 5, and they had a 13-point lead, and they had a lead in the fourth quarter, they just couldn't seal the deal. Hawks win it by 2. Trae Young plays the hero's role with 38 points and 13 assists. And this series is going at least 6 games.